For decades, ABBA fans believed they already knew everything about Benny Andersson and Agnetha Fältskog's legendary partnership. Their names had become inseparable from pop history, tied together through unforgettable songs and unforgettable performances. But recently, Benny revealed something that has left fans stunned. An admission about Agnetha that suggests their bond was far deeper than anyone realized. For years, their relationship had been framed as purely professional. Two artists collaborating in one of the world's most successful bands. They wrote together, performed together, and built ABBA into an unstoppable force. But Benny's latest words paint a different picture. He described Agnetha not merely as a singer, but as a driving force who transformed his own artistry. Fans saw the flawless stage shows, but behind the glitter and fame, things were far more complicated. Benny confessed that their dynamic wasn't always easy. There were creative clashes, moments of tension, and the emotional highs and lows that come when two powerful talents collide. Yet, through it all, there remained an undeniable connection that neither of them could deny. Decades later, Benny is finally opening up about just how much Agnetha shaped the band and how deeply her influence touched his life. To understand the weight of his words, we need to step back to where it all began. The early 1970s were a turning point. Benny had already made his mark with the Heap Stars, one of Sweden's most popular groups. Agnetha, meanwhile, had begun her career as a solo artist, her haunting voice attracting attention from across the industry. When they finally met, it wasn't just another collaboration. It was the spark that would ignite a cultural phenomenon. From the beginning, the chemistry was undeniable. Benny later admitted that he wasn't simply looking for a vocalist. He was searching for someone who would push him creatively. Agnetha did exactly that. She challenged him, brought emotional depth to every lyric, and infused their music with vulnerability and power. But this kind of creative fire has two edges. While it inspired brilliance, it also led to friction. They had different approaches and often clashed in the studio. Benny was known for his perfectionism. He wanted every note precise, every harmony flawless. Sessions could go on for hours as he worked to refine the smallest details. Agnetha, however, brought something different, an emotional truth that couldn't always be measured in technical perfection. Her voice carried both sorrow and joy, sometimes in the same phrase. And it was this quality that elevated ABBA's sound beyond pop into something timeless. The pressure, however, could be overwhelming. Benny pushed her hard because he knew her potential, but at times she felt exhausted by the relentless pursuit of excellence. And yet, it was in those grueling sessions that some of ABBA's greatest songs were born. Looking back, Benny now admits he didn't fully recognize at the time just how much her artistry shaped the band. But music wasn't the only strain. It was fame. ABBA's rise was meteoric. Practically overnight, they went from Swedish stars to one of the biggest acts in the world. But for Agnetha, the spotlight felt suffocating. She described fame as living in a glass box, constantly watched by millions, yet isolated and alone. Concerts, endless press, global tours, the pressure weighed heavily on her. Benny, more comfortable in the background as a composer and producer, wasn't as affected by the glare of celebrity, but he could see how it consumed her, even if he didn't fully understand it at the time. For Agnetha, fame was both a gift and a prison, and as the band soared to greater heights, their private lives began to crumble. Agnetha's marriage to Björn Ulvaeus fell apart. At the same time, Benny's relationship with Anna Fridlinghed was also unraveling. ABBA's image of harmony stood in stark contrast to the heartbreak behind the scenes. Yet, instead of collapsing under the weight of their troubles, they poured it into the music. Songs like The Winner Takes It All weren't just hits. They were confessions, reflections of their own struggles woven into melody. Benny has since admitted that their personal turmoil became both a curse and a source of creative power. The heartbreak that nearly destroyed them also gave ABBA some of its most enduring songs. Eventually, though, even that balance couldn't hold. By the early 1980s, ABBA disbanded. Benny and Agnetha went their separate ways with little contact for years. Fans speculated endlessly. Was there bitterness, regret? Neither spoke openly, and the silence left more questions than answers. Benny focused on other musical projects, including composing for theater and orchestras. Agnetha stepped away from the limelight almost completely, releasing only occasional solo albums while largely living a private life. For decades, it seemed like that chapter was closed forever. And then came the surprise that no one expected, ABBA's reunion. When the band announced their Voyage album, the world was stunned. After so many years, after so many rumors of permanent separation, Benny and Agnetha found themselves back in the studio together. And this time, it was different. There was no pressure to chase perfection, no endless deadlines, no expectations to live up to their past. It was simply about making music again. For Benny, the reunion was eye-opening. He spoke with rare honesty about how much he admired Agnetha's artistry, calling her voice the very soul of ABBA. We were the perfect pair, he admitted, even when we didn't know it. For Agnetha, it was also a healing experience. After years of feeling suffocated by fame, she approached the reunion without fear, without pressure. She could simply enjoy the process. Reflecting on it later, she said, There was a time when I thought I had left it all behind, but coming back, it just felt right. For fans, seeing Benny and Agnetha side by side again, older, wiser, and with newfound respect for each other, was nothing short of magical. It was proof that true artistic bonds don't vanish with time. They endure, waiting for the right moment to re-emerge. Today, ABBA's music continues to live on, not just as pop songs, but as emotional time capsules. Their melodies carry the highs and lows of real lives, real love, and real struggles. At the center of it all was the partnership of Benny Andersson and Agnetha, a relationship defined not only by creativity and challenge, but also by a profound admiration that has, finally, after decades, been spoken aloud. So, what do you think? Was there more to Benny and Agnetha's connection than the world ever realized? Share your thoughts below.